The Secret Door, Martinez Kids Adventures, Book 1. Written by Minda Gomez. Narrated by Melinda Yerzy. Part 1. The Treetop Adventure. Chapter 1. Breakfast Tacos. It was a typical morning in the Martinez casa. Shouts rang out through the house as Rico and Diego raced each other to the bathroom to wash their hands. Little Araceli pattered behind and jumped up on the step stool after her brothers left, splashing water everywhere in the process. The three children settled into their seats at the kitchen table and waited impatiently for the breakfast to be served. Papi scooped steaming eggs scrambled with onions and peppers from the frying pan onto each child's plate. He placed warm corn tortillas on the table, along with their family's favorite guacamole salsa. He was happy to be able to make such a nutritious and tasty Mexican breakfast for his family. Before he was even able to sit down himself, the complaining started. "Eggs again," grumbled Rico, who at 8 years of age was the oldest of three. "Why don't we ever have anything good for breakfast? I want something I could put syrup on." 5-year-old Diego, always quick to follow his older brother, agreed. "I want to eat pancakes today." Their 2-year-old sister Araceli repeated, "Pancakes!" Papi sighed. "Hijos, you will eat what I put in front of you," he said firmly, then turned to pour milk into his children's cups. As he placed them in front of the kids, he braced himself for what he knew was coming next. "Milk again? Why can't we drink juice for breakfast? My friends at school have juice and pancakes every day for breakfast," whined Rico. "Yeah, I'm sick of milk and eggs," complained Diego. "Me too," agreed Araceli, pushing her plate away. Mommy entered the kitchen, overhearing the conversation. "You should be thankful Papi made you such a wonderful breakfast. It will give you good energy for the day." She hugged her husband and gave him a kiss as she moved to serve a plate for him and one for herself. The two parents joined their children at the table and began to eat their breakfast tacos. The whining eventually died down, and the children had to admit that, if they were honest, they truly enjoyed the food. Once they had finished eating, the children jumped up from the table and began to run away. "Don't forget to bring your plates over to the sink," Mommy reminded them. Once again, the complaining began. "Why do I have to do everything around here?" moaned Rico. "I hate having to clean up," Diego mimicked his older brother. After arguing with their parents for a few moments, the three kids eventually brought everything over to the sink, but by the time they were done, everyone was in a bad mood. "Can we have a snack?" began Diego, his big brown eyes wide and begging as he gazed at his parents. "You just ate breakfast, so no, you don't need a snack," said Papi firmly, shutting down the conversation before it could continue. Before the kids could begin to whine again, Mommy sent the three of them into the backyard to play as she worked to clean up the breakfast dishes in pots and pans. "If only these kids could appreciate the many blessings that we have," she sighed. Outside, Rico, Diego, and Araceli raced around on the grass, playing on the swing set, jumping on the trampoline, and kicking around a soccer ball. After about 5 minutes, they ran out of steam. "I'm bored. Why don't we have anything fun to do out here?" griped Rico. Diego was quick to echo his older brother's sentiments. "There's nothing to do out here. I want to go inside and watch TV." Araceli watched her brothers and prepared to shout out the word bored, though she truly was having a great time and couldn't quite understand why her brothers were bored already. Then her face brightened as she looked past her brothers to the next yard. "Don Toño!" she squealed. She scrambled to run over to the chain-link fence that separated her yard from that of their neighbors, Don Toño and Doña Rosa. The children loved their warm, friendly neighbors and always ran to greet them when they saw them. They did their best to remember to address them with the polite terms Don and Doña, which meant something like Mr. and Mrs. Don Toño ambled over to the fence. "¿Cómo estás, preciosa?" he greeted Araceli in Spanish. "How are you, dear?" "Bien," she answered with a shy smile on her face. Diego and Rico ran over to the fence and said hello to their elderly neighbor. "Hola, Don Toño," they said at the same time. The friendly Mexican man smiled back at his favorite young neighbors. The relationship between the Martinez family and Don Toño and Doña Rosa was a special one. Papi and Mami had moved into the house when Rico was a baby. Doña Rosa had shown up at the door on move-in day with a covered plate full of Mexican pan dulce, or sweetbread. Papi was thrilled to see such a special treat that reminded him of growing up in Mexico. The families made an instant connection. Since that day, Papi had enjoyed sharing stories with his neighbors about his childhood in a Mexican city close to the town where Don Toño and Doña Rosa were from. Doña Rosa had taken it upon herself to teach Mami how to cook typical Mexican dishes for her family, since Mami had grown up in Minnesota eating traditional American foods. They had spent many happy afternoons in the kitchen together, cooking enchiladas and pozole, and chatting in Spanish while the children played nearby. Don Toño winked at the kids as he rested his arms on the fence. "I just came outside to water my garden, and I overheard some voices saying they were bored. How could that have happened so soon? Aren't you enjoying your summer vacation?" he asked. "There's nothing to do here in this yard," said Diego. "Summer is so boring." "Yeah, and we had a boring old breakfast of eggs and milk just like we do every day," added Rico. "Our life is so boring. I wish we could do something fun for a change." "Boring," repeated Araceli dramatically. "Bueno," began the old man thoughtfully. "Today might be the day to introduce you to a special project I've been working on. Do you think you could keep busy for a few minutes while I speak with your parents?" The children nodded and watched as he walked slowly to the front of the house to knock on the open screen door.